requirement for a constitution amendment here is because the government wants to change the constitutional scheme by which delimitation is conducted. Okay, so let's get that very clear right now. So there is a possibility, or at least a rumor doing the rounds, that the government could call for 3 sittings on 16th, 17th, 18th or 17th, 18th, 19th of August and push the Constitution 131st Amendment plus the Delimitation Bill again. Mr. Kiran Rijiju has publicly denied that report. The DMK, which has 22 MPs, which was right in the lead role of the protests against the Delimitation Bill in April, is now not an ally of the Congress, and it has more or less walked out of the India bloc too. DMK had taken against this bill just a few months ago in April. Now, if it decides to do a complete U-turn and support the government on delimitation, it will need a face saver.
On April 17, the centre suffered a rare setback on the floor of the House. The Constitution 131st Amendment Bill was defeated, falling short of 2/3 majority needed. Months later, the numbers have changed. A string of defractions pushed the NDA's tally up, and the government now believes it has the strength to get the bill passed. The big question is whether it will bring the bill back in the current session of Parliament. The opposition, meanwhile, is dealing with reduced strength and the visibility of disunity compared to the month of April. And then there is DMK, once firmly opposed now, is signaling it may be open to a deal. So will the centre make its move this session? And will it tweak the original draft to win over DMK and other opposition leaders? To discuss more on this, we are joined by TheFederal's political editor, Puneet Nicholas Yadav. Thank you so much for joining, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
Sir, my first question to you is the centre suffered a visible embarrassment on April 17 when the Constitution 131 First Amendment Bill fell to the floor vote, forcing it to also pull the Delimitation Bill and the UT laws bill along with it. So NDA's numbers have since climbed to around 324, boosted by TMC and Shiv Sena. So basically, the UBT Sena MPs crossing over it. So does the centre actually have the numbers now, or is it still shy to that 360 2/3 mark?
Yeah, well, Shravan, as far as the numbers are concerned, see, the centre needs a 2/3 majority to pass a constitution amendment. Okay. Now, there are two bills here that we are essentially interested in, or that are in context here. One is the Constitution 131st Amendment Bill, which the government wants to make another attempt at passing in, at pushing through Parliament. The second is the related bill, which is Delimitation Bill, which is not a constitution amendment. The Delimitation Bill per se can be passed by a simple majority. The requirement for a constitution amendment here is because the government wants to change the constitutional scheme by which delimitation is conducted. Okay, so let's get that very clear right now. Now, the issue with the numbers here is, on paper, the government as of today has 325 MPs. In the support of 325 MPs in the Lok Sabha against the 2/3 majority mark of 360. In April, when this bill, the Constitution Amendment Bill, was voted on, the government had secured 298 votes from MPs. So from 298, the number now stands at 325. This 325 includes the 20 MPs who have defected from Mamata Banerjee's Trinamool Congress to what is now being called the NCPI, the Nationalist Citizens Party of India. So out of 28 MPs of the Trinamool, 20 have defected. Similarly, out of 9 MPs of the Shiv Sena UBT, which is the Uddhav Thackeray-led faction of the Shiv Sena, out of 9, 6 have defected to the Eknath Shinde faction of the Shiv Sena. And just about an hour or two ago, the Akali Dal, which has 1 MP in the Lok Sabha, which is Mrs. Harsimrat Kaur Badal, so the Akali Dal has said that they will also vote in favor of the delimitation bill. So essentially, Mrs. Badal will support the bill when it comes. So that pushes the number now to 325. The two-thirds mark is 360. So on paper, the government is still shy of the two-thirds mark. Whether it shores up enough numbers and reaches that 360 figure depends on whether it is able to negotiate support with the DMK and with at least another 24 odd or slightly less than 24 odd MPs from the opposition parties. So that is where things stand as of now.
Right. So, will the government risk bringing the bill back in the current monsoon session with only a handful of sitting left, or does it hold off until this arithmetic is beyond doubt? What do you think?
See, the official remark from the government so far has been, and this is the Union Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Mr. Kiran Rijiju, who is on record just the other day saying that while the government wants to bring in the delimitation bill, there is no plan as of now to convene either a special session or to extend the ongoing monsoon session, which is going to otherwise conclude on the 13th of August, which means another 4 sittings of Parliament that are left. So Monday it will convene, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday, the session ends.
Yeah.
So there was speculation that the government might extend the session beyond the 13th and have another 3 sittings immediately after Independence Day. So there was a possibility, or at least a rumor doing the rounds, that the government could call for 3 sittings on 16th, 17th, 18th, or 17th, 18th, 19th of August and push the Constitution 131st Amendment plus the delimitation bill again. Mr. Kiran Rijiju has publicly denied that report. But what he has not made clear is whether in the 4 days that remain of the current session, which is from the 10th to the 13th, whether in those 4 sittings the government will make this attempt. Because technically it can still revise the business of the House and come in with these bills. I think what it will all boil down to is whether it is absolutely confident of getting the DMK's support plus the other MPs that it needs to reach that 360 MP mark, 360 vote mark for a 2/3 majority.
Right. Sir, the opposition that defeated the bill in April has lost 2 of its most reliable blocs, TMC and UBT Shiv Sena, to deflections since. So, does the opposition go into this round visibly weaker, or with the sheer numbers? What do you think?
Well, they haven't lost the 2 blocks. The TMC of Mamata Banerjee as well as the Shiv Sena UBT is still very much part of the India bloc. What has happened is that, yes, because of the defections that have happened in these 2 parties, the India bloc is much weaker in its numbers in Lok Sabha now. So, out of 28 MPs that the Trinamool had in April, it now can bank only on 8. Now, whether these 8 also stay in, on the day of voting, or whether even from these 8, there may be some who may still cross vote or abstain, we don't know. Similarly, in Shiv Sena UBT, out of the 9 that MPs that the party had in April, 6 have defected. There are only 3 who remain. So naturally, it has been a loss of 26 MPs, a direct loss in that sense to the India bloc. Additionally, the DMK, which has 22 MPs, which was right in the lead role of the protests against the Delimitation Bill in April, is now not an ally of the Congress, and it has more or less walked out of the India bloc too. It has been saying that its position on delimitation remains the same. In fact, just the other day, Udayanidhi Stalin, I believe, made a statement saying we opposed it back then, we oppose it even now. But there is a back channel negotiation that the government has been having with the DMK. The DMK has asked for certain assurances from the government, and that is a cause for the opposition, and particularly the Congress and the India bloc, to be nervous about. Because if those assurances are extended to the DMK and the DMK flips, then the government becomes much stronger in its numbers, in its numerical strength in Lok Sabha, to get this bill passed than what it was in April.
Right. So talking about DMK, beyond the numbers, DMK has broken from Congress in Tamil Nadu, and TMC, is dealing with their internal revolt in the state of Bengal. And so, is the opposition rattled not just by the reduced strength, but by their disunity within their own ranks compared to April? What do you think, sir?
Well, naturally, see, April you saw a much stronger opposition, both in terms of numbers as well as unity. Both those things have now been fractured. In terms of numbers, they've directly, as I pointed out, lost 26 MPs to the ruling side, to the NDA coalition in Lok Sabha. 7, in fact, also in the Rajya Sabha, where the Aam Aadmi Party's 10 MPs, out of those 10, 7 have moved to the BJP. And then the DMK's own position, vis-a-vis the opposition, the NDA, and all of that. So naturally, the opposition has every reason, as I said, to be very nervous and concerned.
Right. Sir, and then there is the DMK swing, the party that called delimitation a trap on the floor in April, and is now reportedly open to backing this bill if the center guarantees a 50% seat hike and a 20 to 25 year freeze on Tamil Nadu's share in writing. So is this genuine shift, or DMK using its leverage to extract? What do you think?
Well, you see, Shravan, the thing is, whether this bill passes or not will ultimately boil down to the position that the DMK takes. Now, that kind of burden comes with its own pros and cons. And more cons here than pros, because of the very strong and strident position that the DMK had taken against this bill just a few months ago in April. Now, if it decides to do a complete U-turn and support the government on delimitation, it will need a face saver. It will need grounds to go to the public in Tamil Nadu in the 2029 elections and defend its U-turn. So how does the DMK do that? Because, if the bill passes, naturally the opposition is going to make a lot of noise about it and against it. And particularly in Tamil Nadu, whether it is TVK, whether it is the Congress or the left parties, who are all now part of one alliance and have all, minus the TVK, the others have all ditched the DMK to come to this alliance. they are all going to paint the DMK as the single villain of the delimitation exercise. So
Yeah.
naturally, the DMK wants assurances. So what does the DMK do? From the back channel negotiations that they've been having, and from what I understand, there are three things that the DMK has asked for, very explicit written assurances, which are woven into the bill, which are not oral assurances given by the government and the minister concerned, which here would be Mr. Amit Shah, but
Yeah.
very clear written assurances that are woven into the bill. The first is that it wants the 1971 census to be treated as the base year for any corresponding increase in seats. And once that is done, it wants that figure to be frozen for the next 25 years. So, whereas what the government had proposed in April was to conduct delimitation based on the 2011 census. And that is where the TMK's biggest objection was, because the DMK said that, look, delimitation has been frozen since 1976. And before that, it had been done based on 1971. After that, the southern states, and particularly Tamil Nadu, has had a lot of success in controlling its population. And so, if you're going to do delimitation based on 2011, you are going to end up penalizing states which succeeded in family planning and rewarding states in the north like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, which did nothing to control their population. So here the government, the DMK wants the government to essentially give an assurance that you will not use 2011 as the base year for revision for delimitation. You will use the 1971 figures so that the base remains the same when you're doing the revision. And the state, which is Tamil Nadu here, or the other southern states, don't turn out to be big losers in the exercise. Secondly, it has said that the assurance which was given orally in April, when the government said we are going to increase the representation of every state by a flat 50%. So that, the DMK says, should be written into the bill. It should not come merely as an oral assurance. It should be written into the bill that there will be a 50% increase across the board, across all states, which effectively would mean that the total percentage representation that each state has in in Parliament, in the Lok Sabha, as of now, remains unchanged after the delimitation exercise. And the third condition is that this increased figure for the states, how many seats they have currently, how many seats they are going to have after the delimitation exercise, that should be mentioned with the bill as part of a schedule. It should be given in writing. Now, if the government accepts all three, the DMK sort of will improve its position politically, because then at least it can go back to Tamil Nadu and defend its U-turn by saying that, look, we did this in the interest of Tamil Nadu, because in April when we opposed it, the government was unwilling to give any of these assurances. Whereas we are the ones who have actually forced the government to give you this assurance written into the bill. While other opposition parties were only making noise, we were the ones who forced the government to make those changes. So that possibly could be the DMK's defense for its U-turn.
Right. Sir, my last question to you is, will the center actually rewrite the bill's text to reflect Amit Shah's proposed uniform 50% high clause, or offer it only a side assurance to bring DMK and other opposition leaders on board?
See, it all depends, as I said, on how firm the DMK stands with its negotiations and how desperately the BJP needs the DMK's support. Because, see, even when it gets the DMK on board, if the DMK agrees to vote in favor of the bill, the government will still be 14 MPs short of the 360 majority, two-thirds majority mark. So it will still need to, break away or sway or cross-vote, get MPs from the opposition side to cross-vote. So it's not as if they're going to, just on the strength of the DMK, reach that two-thirds mark. They will still be deficient. If the DMK abstains, in fact, the deficiency will be much more, because if the DMK votes in favor of the government, the government will be 14 votes short of a two-thirds mark. But if the DMK abstains, then the two-thirds mark also comes. And in that scenario, the government, with the DMK abstaining, will be 20 MPs short against 14 if it votes with the government. So the government would ideally want the DMK to vote with the government on this bill, right? And so if it wants that to happen and all 22 MPs of the DMK to come, unitedly behind this bill, it will be compelled to give certain assurances. Now, whether it gives all three in writing into the bill or agrees for some kind of bargaining with, okay, we're going to give a written assurance on one of these or two of these, but not all three, that we have to wait and see. But as of now, I don't see a way out where the DMK gets a face saver and the government does not give any assurance at all.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.